Hi guys, my name is Eva and I'm a dreamer. And my topic today is about dreams. When I chose the topic, honestly, I didn't know which angle I'm going to take. At that time, my understanding of dreams was much more different than my understanding that I have now. And just as a disclaimer, my presentation will have pictures of myself because I want to kind of take you through what dreams can mean to somebody and what dreams or where dreams can take you in your life. So, what are dreams? Dreams can be a series of thoughts, events, feelings, emotions that you have during your sleep. Dreams could be your fantasies, your desires, your hopes and dreams and things that you want to achieve in life, whether for yourself, for your family, for your children, and maybe even for your community. So when you think of dreams, it's a complicated kind of thing because the way you think of dreams is much more different than me. And at the face view, dreams, and you all just automatically think, oh, we're all dreamers. What does she mean she's a dreamer? We sleep, we have these thoughts, we wake up, and we sometimes remember, sometimes we don't. Who cares? Okay, so our beloved sexual Freud says that dreams are our unconscious wishes, urges, feelings, or conflicts that we have during the day that he says it's your sexual thoughts or things that you have and you're kind of ashamed or don't want to think about during the day, and so somehow they resurface at night. And obviously it's not just about the sexual thoughts, but it's everything that you kind of suppress during the day, and when you sleep and your body is relaxed, they come back to you. And Carl Jung as well also says that dreams are things that our egos also suppress, and they come back into life or when we're sleeping. And hence, maybe as clinical psychologists, sometimes you will go to them and they want to do dream analysis because psychoanalytically they will say, the experiences that you have either as a young person, experiences that you have in a lifetime, maybe bad experiences that you really don't want to tap into or really want to engage with those feelings. You kind of suppress them and you put them aside, and at some point they resurface in the form of dreams. And when you go to a psychologist and you actually sometimes don't have much to say, only to say, of lately I've been dreaming of this and that is so much content to work on to say what really happened in your life that is now coming back that we need to be dealing with now. So what this means then to me is that dreams actually have a meaning. They have a purpose and something that can be worked on. However, there is another contradicting view to dreams where it's called the activating synthesis hypothesis, where we all have these electric impulses where our neurons start activating our brainstem during our rapid eye movement sleep, where then the frontal cortex of the brain wants to make sense of what is happening. What is this activity that's happening? So the brain is actually wanting to understand why is this happening, what's happening, and why there was this thing. So the brain is creating a hypothesis of this activity. So there's a possibility that you were just it was a movie that you watched that is now coming back. It was it was the anxiety of coming to do a presentation today that is just that you're dreaming about. So there's not actually a proper meaning that you can work on from there. So it's just your brain wanting to make sense of what is happening. Having said that, being a spiritual being, it will be expected that I will go to tap into that as to what do dreams mean for us as spiritual beings. And there's different understandings to that as well, but Different people then say sometimes dreams are just direct messages that come from our ancestors. It's their way of communicating with us. It's their way of maybe dictating to us what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, or what is going to happen in your life. It is actually a way sometimes that they assist in managing, contributing to our life, either physically, emotionally, and psychologically, our well-being. And it's their way of saying, we're here with you, and this is what needs to be done. Sometimes you get people where they will have dreams that will actually make them understand where the people that have left us, if they're at peace, if they're worrying about something, and warning us about things that needs to happen in our life. So Freud says there's two key components to look at dreams. So there's a manifest content dream where it's all about what is happening in the dream, and then there's a latent content of the dreams where the hidden meaning behind the dream that we need to tap into. There's also two ways of looking at interpreting dreams. There's the manifest way where it's metaphoric way where you dream of something and it's actually you look at something and it's not the actual way that it is happening in your life. Let's give you an example. You dream of a death in the family and you wonder and you wake up with this worry that somebody is going to die or somebody has actually died, and actually what it means is it's the end of something bad in your life or the end of some evil that's happened in your life, and it's a beginning of new life. And when you look at it in a neutral sense, you think somebody's going to die, but actually you get a phone call a few days after you've dreamt and somebody in the family is going to get married. You dream of dogs. Maybe they're running after you, and you dream of people chasing after you and you're running, but the dogs don't actually bite you. So it's like, hang on a minute, why are these dogs running after me? And it's actually subconsciously you running away from your calling, you're running away from where you're supposed to be going to. And these things are running away to say, well, hang on a minute, you're going the wrong direction and you need to refocus and look this way. Another metaphoric way of looking at dream, like I just said, you dream of the death. In this case, you dream of a wedding, and I get those often where it will be so specific that you see where the dream is and where the wedding is, and you know who's getting married and all the events that are happening, and only to find that that person that was getting married is actually going to die. So it's a tricky situation where it's like, do I interpret the dream? Do I not interpret the dream? How do I interpret it? And then there's a prophetic way where there's mostly it's people that are spiritual, it's people that are gifted, it's people that we call prophets in some of the churches, it's people that we call traditional healers if we're looking in a cultural way, that will have like visions where they see literally things that are going to happen. So they foresee the events that are going to happen. So like I said, now you dreamt of an accident on the M2, and you know it was a red car and a white car and they had a crash, and you wake up in the morning and it's like, whoa, what just happened? And you're driving to lectures and you listen to the news and actually there was an accident and actually it was exactly how it was said. So those people, we say they're gifted because they have an ability to see beyond, and they have an ability to have these visions before they actually happen. So, like I said, and I'll keep saying, dreams are very tricky. So, without going into the very serious part of it, as people, as we are born, we all have dreams. We have a dream car. I remember as a young kid, my dream car would have been maybe a Conquest or a Taz. You have your dream car, you have a dream house, you even have a dream husband at that time, and you're only 5 and you don't even know what that means. So what I'm trying to say about dreams is they constantly change as you grow older, they constantly change as you about to reach that dream, then it's like you're always wanting to dreaming for more, you're dreaming bigger all the time. So I want to tell a little story about this little girl. The little girl is me, and that's my mom. So I might be just, I look exactly like my mom now, but that's my dream. So as a little girl, I dreamed of owning a car because I was born in a rural area. My parents were probably one of the few that had cars in the area because my mom was a teacher then. But there was a whole lot of things that we didn't have. And I dreamed of one day owning those things. I knew, as most kids from the rural areas, to reach or to make that dream come true, you needed education. And at that time, the one thing that I knew was to get a matric. And obviously I studied, got closer to matric. As I was in grade 11, we started to be told now you have to start thinking about what you're going to, what's your dream career now. And I'm thinking, I haven't thought that far. So I remember sleeping in my bed, listening to the radio, and somebody came through and was talking about hospitality management. I was like, whoa, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm doing hospitality management. Surely because this person said, you're going to be a manager of the hotels, you're going to be traveling the world, you're going to be seeing a whole lot of tourist attraction places and all of that. And I was like, what aeroplane? I've never been in an aeroplane. I was like, hotels. That's things that we see on TV. So definitely, I'm not changing my mind, and that's what I want to do. My mom and everyone else was like, but we think you should be a lawyer. I was like, no, lawyer is very boring. I need to travel the world. So I remember registering and going to Hamilton at that time, and my first day when I chose my subject, one of the subjects was French. I needed to do French because I was going to travel the world. So I did French and I did everything else that was compulsory, and I thought, yep, I'm set to go. First few days, the lectures will come in, and when they started lectures, they'll be like, you know, when you're in the hotel, things like this happen. You know, when you're traveling to, and in your first feeling when you're in the plane, and we kept looking at each other. There was quite a few black kids that were in that class, and we would look at each other like, in the plane, feeling how? In the hotel, where, how? And at some points, when they eventually realized that we didn't know what the hell they were talking about, then they turned around and said, listen, this is not the course for you. This is not the course for black people. It's merely a dream. They sold you a dream. You probably need to change the course. So you can imagine the psychological effects that I had at that time. The crushing of the self-confidence, the crushing of, you know, when you thought, I'm just 3 years away from my dream. I'm just 3 years away from this big world that's waiting for me. And you told, no, this is not the place for you. I mean, I thought, I don't know what they're talking about. We're here to stay. So we stayed. We went to internships, and now that became a reality. When we really actually saw that this could just be just a dream, when we realized that some of the people that looked like us didn't make it to the points that we thought we were going to make to. So what then happened was I thought, okay, I'm going to travel the world on my own. And so I traveled. I did the Europe, I did Zanzibar, I did Mauritius and everything, which goes back to the point where do we then sit down and say, listen, your dream is going to crush, or do we then show that your dream can actually come true? So fast forward to some time where now for some reason, I started a business when I realized that the hospitality wasn't doing things that needed to be done for me. And then my business was every girl's dream wedding. So then again, I said, you dream it and you make it happen, because I knew that some of the dreams that we had of the big lavish weddings we can't afford. So we needed to fake it to make it. And I was there to do that. So fast forward to a couple of years back, when I then had a literal dream when I was supposed to be a clinical psychologist, I thought, wow, That's what I'm going to do now again. So I studied that. That year, we had a meeting when we were called by the clinical psychologist there at the UNISA, and we were told, listen, this could just be a dream. I'm 15 minutes on the slide. This is just, could have been just a dream, because 10 years later, I couldn't get into masters. So listen, you people need to start thinking of doing PGCE and doing social work and everything. There again, my dream was about to crash down, and I was not. I was like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes you have these literal dreams where you want to reach somewhere and you can't. And psychologically, physically, emotionally, these things bring you down, these things crush you. And that's why sometimes our clients that we deal with, they come and they have dreams, and you ask them, so what do you think of doing for yourself? And they're like, no, I want to get education because I want to get my parents out of the location where we're staying. I want to buy my parents a car. I want to travel the world. That's the kid that you're dealing with from that foster care, and you think, how the hell are you going to do that? And I'm here to say dreams don't come true. So you are never too old to set another goal or to dream another dream. And that's how I've been dreaming one day this, and I've been making sure that I reach somehow so that I can prove it to myself. But is it enough to just always push and want to prove something every time? So what I want to say is, sometimes we need to think that sometimes people deter us from our dreams that we have. They tell us, don't do it, you can't do it, you don't deserve it. But it's because they also had dreams that they never reached. It comes from a good place where they thinking to save you. Let me rather tell you, don't even go there. So sometimes we have to be strong for ourselves. We have to look and find out what is making us sit back and not reach for what we need to reach for. So I bet we all have things that we've wanted to do in life. We've all had dreams that we've never got to achieve. And there's some dreams that you've thought, I'm going to put that aside because I know for sure I'm not going to go there. And that it could be a whole lot of things. You can fill in the blanks. It could be some oppression, a voice that you've had, whether it's about your race, your gender, your economical status. It could be anything. But at the end of the day, you have the power to change the things in your life. It's not going to be easy, but if you can dream it, you can make it happen. So never give up on your dreams. And like Martin Luther King, I have a dream that my children would not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character, and be what they dream to become one day. Thank you.